Yeah, I didn't get. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Well, that's why I brought it down. Thank you, sir. Thanks, sir.
First of all, thank you for this opportunity for letting us come and talk to you tonight. My name is Jeff Lee, and I think I've met all of you at some point. I am the Twin City attorney, but I'm also an advisory board member of One Vote County. I've been involved since very conceptual stages, so I've seen kind of progression, and it's taken a while. It's 4 years or so that we've been working on this, trying to put together the organization, and it's taken a little longer than we thought, but that was somewhat intentional as we began discussions and uh, concepts of what this organization could be. We wanted to take our time and make sure that we did it right, and we were really representing the entire county and capturing what would be the most effective structure for the organization. And we think we found that. We're really happy with it. It's been a very active group, 28 board members that have been very engaged. They represent all areas of the county geographically. We also have the representation of different businesses and government and nonprofit leaders. So we feel there's a good representation of a cross section of Marshall County. So we want to talk tonight about kind of where we are with One Marshall County, what we've accomplished so far, and where we plan to go with the organization to benefit everyone in the county. So when we talk about where Marshall County is today, we all know that housing demand exceeds supply. That's pretty obvious. We've got a couple of studies, both of one directed by the Way of Marshall County, and also the NAPOG Regional Housing Study that confirm what I think all of us kind of knew before that, but now we have the data to back it up. There are also efforts to expand on that with some more specific, site-specific and town-specific studies for the exact housing demands, things that will take developers and help to justify their investment in the housing development. We also know that infrastructure investment requires coordination, and we're working on collaborating with all of the communities in Marshall County as well as MCDC to work together planning what our infrastructure needs are and how we can meet those needs going into the future. We know that our employers are competing for quality talent. I've worked with a lot of employers throughout the county, and they tell me that things are getting a little better with their basic employment, but there's still positions that are really hard to fill. And that creates a competition where, unfortunately, people are jumping from one to another. It makes it really hard not only to attract, but also to retain those talented employees. We also know that our communities are stronger when we work together. We've learned that in Marshall County through the Stella program, through Ready Grants, through regional collaboration, that when we work together, we can all benefit from it and we can be more successful in those efforts. So all of this in mind, One Marshall County has a vision for the future of Marshall County, to be a destination for families, to be a magnet for those quality employers, to be a leader in quality of place improvements again for all of our residents, and to be a model for regional collaboration. We want to take concepts like the South Bend Elkhart Regional Partnership that has been a tremendous benefit to Marshall County and the region. We wanted to take that model and apply it within the county. That's really how One Marshall County was formed. It's trying to recreate that collaboration model that's been so successful and increase the success at a more local level. The mission of One Marshall County is to collaboratively champion economic prosperity and elevate quality of life, ensuring a resilient and sustainable future for every resident. To do that, One Marshall County is not taking on our own projects. Marshall County is not funding this project. One Marshall County is serving the role as a convener to bring everyone together so that we can collaborate, so that we can share ideas, so that we can benefit from one another, and we can all move forward on the same page. You know, it started with the idea that if you have someone over here working on solving a problem, somebody over here is trying to solve the same problem, they're duplicating efforts. When we can bring them together and work together and share from one another's experience of success, then we can compound that success and we can move farther faster. So just as far as the history of that, all of this goes back to the Crossroads Initiative. Remember, many years ago, the Marshall County Crossroads Organization was an entirely volunteer-led organization that successfully brought grant funding to many projects throughout Marshall County. We wanted to build on that success. And so One Marshall County actually is the same organization as Crossroads. We branched with One Marshall County and developed into what we have today. That way we can unite stakeholders, like I said, it represents government, business, employers, citizens, nonprofits, so that we have true representation across the county. And like I mentioned, we have 28 active board members who are representing all the communities throughout the county in these efforts. So the way we hope to create the results, and we're already starting to see those results, is we bring together those stakeholders, communities, businesses, education, healthcare, philanthropy representatives. We bring them together to collaborate and convene, promoting those efforts so that we can do joint planning. We can identify potential funding for projects. We can assist with the execution. Some of these ideas, these concepts are big and it's hard, and not everybody has the resources to do all of this on their own. So by working together, we help one another to be more successful and achieve those results. And we've already seen some success. We've got a list of examples here of what's been accomplished. Marshall County now has a countywide community development corporation. And I know that here in Argos, you guys have some experience with a CDC. The new countywide CDC has access to additional funding sources through regional funds and statewide programs, and we're working with them as a separate entity to promote housing growth throughout the county by identifying what the specific needs are in each community and help formulate plans and programs to achieve those. One of the other projects we're working right now is a countywide municipal utility assessment. We know that each community has a pretty good handle on their own utility capacity and utility needs, but it's not always at fingertips of NCUC, for example. So having a countywide picture when we're talking to developers, when they're trying to identify a potential location, and they know that they need these utilities to support the project, we help them identify what part of the county is going to be suited for what their needs are. At the same time, that helps us identify, okay, maybe Argos has this utility available, but they don't have the capacity for this one. And if the developers looking to locate in the county need that, then we can work with the town of Argos to identify those shortcomings and help find ways to fill that gap to be more desirable. We have worked with several arts and culture organizations within the county, developing grant proposals and applications. Unfortunately, none of the Marshall County projects were successful with the latest arts and culture grant funding. The money that came from the Bully Foundation through Indiana Economic Development Corporation. But by doing the work to prepare those applications, we help them identify what the needs are, and they're ready for the next funding opportunity. We've got a great application that just need to dust off and update, and they can move forward with seeking out other funding sources. One of the big things right now, and Gary United is here. I should have mentioned Gary is the board president really leading the charge of herding the cats at some point. But he's also done a lot of these presentations, so I'm covered for him tonight. But he's here to correct me when I get something wrong. Gary's been very involved in the Indiana Rural Health Transformation Program, the GROW grant application. And I'm going to talk a little more about that in a minute. So don't leave it right now. We've also completed 1 year now with the Marshall County Career Center, located on campus of the high school for the regional CTE program. That's a project that Marshall County is very involved in helping move forward. We've also completed 1 round of small business development centers. So this is a program administered through Marshall County Economic Development Corporation, providing training and education to small businesses. They have several programs with different focuses. The first one was focused on art businesses, so helping, they called it entrepreneurship. So artists and creative business people learning how to take their creative passions and make it a business that they can then profit from. Also, very exciting, and I understand that there's an article about it in today's Pilot News. Taylor Wilson is the first employee of One Marshall County. Funding came from a collaboration with some of our nonprofit partners, and she fills the position of communications and community coordinator. She'll be working with them to promote their own entities and also to collaborate with some of the communications amongst them and to get that. So I said I'd go back to the rural health, the GROW regional grant support. I have not been directly involved in this, so I hope I don't say anything wrong. But this is money that came from the federal government in the state of Indiana. They have several initiatives. One of them is to fund programs in various regions across the state. We're part of Region 1. If you look at the map that's in the packet, it's purple up in the top left, northwest part of the state. If you notice those 6 counties plus part of Elkhart County, it's all rural areas. Those are counties that we don't usually work closely with. So we don't have relationships with the leaders in those counties the way we do with St. Joseph County and Elkhart County as part of our regional partnership. So this was really a learning experience, and there's a lot of money available, $26 million over the next 2 years for the region. But we had to put together a regional application for the programs that would be funded by that grant money. And as you can imagine, with people we don't know, from counties we don't work with, it can be a daunting task to try to coordinate that grant application to identify what are the needs within the region. Fortunately, we have some experience in Marshall County with collaboration and convening people to work together. So One Marshall County and Marshall County Community Foundation were able to take a leading role in this regional organization, facilitated weekly work group meetings to assess the needs throughout the region and identify programs that could help to address those needs. And so we helped to develop those plans, to write the application and submit it to the state so that we can unlock that funding for some rural health initiatives within Marshall County and that larger region. That's an example of ways we can work together to try to leverage investments within the county. We know we need to collaborate statewide, regionally, but also within Marshall County. We've got some great examples of that, and we use those efforts to continue to benefit the county. We know that something that benefits the town of Argos benefits the rest of the county. We all live close enough to each other that someone who lives in Argos might work in Greenwood. They might shop in Plymouth, and vice versa. I like coming down to Argos for dinner, and all of those benefits affect us all countywide. So we want to make sure that we are improving the lives for not just our own little space, but for the county as a whole. Every dollar spent locally attracts grants. We can coordinate projects to have a greater impact. We support workforce initiatives, increase housing opportunities, and grow entrepreneurship. That's what the future is. One of the other things that we've worked hard to do is complete a strategic plan for One Marshall County. And the priorities we've identified for 2027 are listed on the one page. Housing infrastructure is obviously a top priority for all of us. Also quality of life and quality of place, the kind of things that make people want to live in and visit our towns and communities. We know that business growth and workforce development are important. Businesses can only grow if they can find qualified workforce, and we have to help develop that workforce to do that cycle. And of course, the community ecosystem and regional partnerships. So now we get to the part that everybody's been waiting for. One Marshall County started out with an idea and some very limited funds. We were fortunate to get some grant money through Community Foundation, through Living Grants. There was also a little bit of money from the previous organization. Culver Redevelopment Commission and the City of Plymouth have given some initial funding to help with the initial efforts. But now, as we look to grow, we are asking the other communities to help support One Marshall County financially. And the ask to the town of Argos is for $5,000 in fiscal year 2027. So to support those projects, to achieve the success that we have and continued success that we're planning on. We think it's important for everyone in the county to help support with your participation, with your support, and with financial backing to move forward. And so, just in closing, we know that strong communities are built through shared leadership and sustained investment, and together we can build Marshall County that our children and grandchildren deserve. That's why we're doing this, and that's why we're asking for your support. So I've said a lot. I'm happy to answer any questions you have.
I have the what is the vision, or how does One Marshall County see MCEDC moving forward? I mean, I know at one time there was talk of that, I mean, and I don't know that I should say talk, because rumor might be the best part, that One Marshall County was going to absorb MCEDC and then it all be one entity. What is the future?
That is not the intent. So One Marshall, MCEDC is an integral partner to what One Marshall County is trying to do. They represent one aspect of the overall work. We've identified various pillars. One of them is employment and workforce development, and MCEDC is integral to that. I can actually tell you from my perspective, because before becoming Plymouth City Attorney, I represented Marshall County Economic Development. And I can tell you that the idea that became One Marshall County started because of mission creep within MCEDC. So MCEDC has always had a very specific focus on developing employment, and that's usually large manufacturing, industrial employment within Marshall County. They started taking on a lot of things that were not part of their mission, were not part of their expertise, things that they really didn't have the resources to address. Things like housing, things like workforce education, because there wasn't anybody else to pick up that slack. And so the idea with One Marshall County is that we work with partners within those areas. So Lifelong Learning Network is a partner with the CTE cooperative. they're the ones who know how to do workforce education and training. So we can lean on them. We don't have to reinvent that wheel. We don't have to do the big things. NCEC is another example. Their expertise is in attracting and developing employers. And so they can focus on what they do well so that we can all benefit from it and we're not duplicating the efforts across the country. I hope that answers it.
Yes.
I have a question, if you guys don't mind going down the road here. I understand you're asking for additional funding from all the communities in the county, I get all that. What can the, for that contribution from the towns into Warren Marshall County, what could town of Argos expect in return for that donation? What would we expect to see from Warren Marshall County, so to speak, as far as a return for that donation?
Well, I think the biggest thing is that collaboration, being able to work together to identify. So when programs like the Ready 2.0 is a good example. When that program was announced, it was a challenge for every community to try to identify what projects we have, what fits, how do we complete the application. And Warren Marshall County can help to collaborate on those, to help answer some of the questions and how to prepare application materials, help to review them and identify ways to make them stronger. We've worked very closely with Focus. They've been advising Warren Marshall County from the beginning, and they have expertise in those areas. So that's one example of collaboration. Like I said, we know that things that benefit one part of the county benefit all of the county. So I can't sit here and tell you that we'll be able to bring X number of dollars back to the town of Argos. So we can guarantee X number of new jobs. What I can guarantee is that we'll continue to collaborate to help understand from you what are the town of Argos' needs and how can we work together to meet those needs.
Okay, if I expand that just a little bit, what could the towns expect from Warren Marshall County for for lack of better terms, a yearly progress report on those donations back of, what that brought to us as far as employment or people moving into our towns or that kind of stuff? Or you have any abilities to be able to justify on the backside of this thing?
Absolutely, and that's one of the things, like I said, we're excited about hiring our first employee. We look to expand the more per role and the other roles within Warren Marshall County so that we can put together more detailed presentations like the one we have for you tonight. Regular reports, I think, are very reasonable to expect. We also have, we're lucky to have Lisa on the board, so she can always at least facilitate communication. If you have concerns or questions or need someone from Warren Marshall County to come and answer those questions, at the very least she can relay that message, and if it's something she can't answer, then many of the other board members are happy to do that. And as far as I don't have the authority to promise you what that cadence of appearances would be, but I do think it's very reasonable that one Marshall County representative would be in front of you on a regular basis to update you on the progress and answer the questions.
Well, as you know, Argus was very instrumental in going out on our own and starting a lot of these processes before you people got organized, before Marshall County ACD or ECD, whatever, got started up there. We've been fairly successful on our own, and not saying that we'd like to stay on our own per se, but we don't want to take away resources from what we're currently doing to fund something that we don't have any justification what we get back. That's where I'm going with my line of questioning. So if you can take that back with you and understand what we will be expecting if we decide to donate. We're selling houses faster than we can build them.
Yeah.
And
We are.
very lucky. we could use some manufacturing development. I admit, again, we're limited by space right now a little bit and possibly some wastewater issues, but, we will make every effort to expand utilities if the project warrants.
And I think that's a good example. I mean, we, from the perspective of the city of Plymouth and just being a resident of Marshall County, I've seen what you guys are doing in Argos, and you've had some great success. And I've also seen some of the things that Reading has done, and they've been successful, and some of the things that Culver has done. And I think that's one of the real motivations for One Marshall County is to recognize those successes and the things that Argos is doing well, and share those lessons across the county. And then maybe bring some of the other lessons back. Say, Argos, you're doing great here. Let us help you do this as well. Let's raise everybody up.
I think it's important that, I think it's important to remember, you still have MCDC on the manufacturing job site. There, I mean, One Marsh County is more of a support with MCDCs.
I'm not opposed to it. That was a lot to take in. I don't know that
I
I'd
am certainly not asking
and we
you to
had-
make a decision.
and we had a very lengthy workshop before with
Yeah.
a lot of info, so I don't know that I'd be comfortable tonight voting. I'd like to go through
I-
it again.
I would ask you not to take any action tonight. I
Fair
think
enough.
what we're asking is that you consider this request as you complete the 2027 budget process.
We've had a
We
lot
want to get in front of you
long-winded-
early enough that you have time to do that.
I just-
We're working on it.
I know. So early, it seems like we spend all year working on the budget.
And then we fix it in the last half.
Eric?
Can I just add one thing? One of the things that Carly was asking for is, obviously, coming from businesses, is we want to know what's the payback, right? What is the way that we can justify? what it is?
Exactly.
Now, sometimes in business, we look at things and we say, well, we can't put as much of a quantitative, maybe it's a little more qualitative, positive spin on things. But what I would tell you is that we're gonna do our best, and seriously, what Jeff just said, please let Lisa know, call me direct. We will be here as often as you guys need us to answer any type of questions. And the other thing I think that you guys may be able to tap into, we are planning on having a very robust grant writing process available. And so we're allowing that to be used for a lot of different organizations. If you guys need assistance in any way, that's something that would be very tangible, because I know what it costs when you go to the outside world, you say, hey, can you write us a grant? We can help to absorb at least portions of that. That's partly what, like we have 50,000 that we set aside for community projects. Some of that's going towards surveys, some of it's going to that. And so that would be an area where I think you guys might be able to see a direct payback.
I would agree with that. Grant writing is a entity on its own.
Yeah, and so we are bringing a lot of expertise and things to that, and we're hopeful that, we're successful in most of the things we like.
Thank you.
Anybody else? have
Ted, one other thing Gary said, the packet that I gave you our presentation about, it also has a list of all the board members. And I can tell you that any one of them would be happy to answer questions and talk to you about one motion.
Sir?
Anything else I can do for you? All right, thank you again for your time.
Thank you.
You,
Appreciate it. Minutes from the 6/24/26 regular session.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes of the June 24th, 2026 regular session. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Citizens input. Mr. Ely, have a seat. Yep.
When it comes to well wire, that is one hell of a help. My God, what an asset for us. And I understand the concern when it comes to security. I went when they first put the addition on the existing building. And they put those floodlights on the first night. I mean, You couldn't, you had to sit there like this. I had my TV facing the rest, right towards the building. I had to go all my blinds down. I could read a newspaper without having a light on. And I ain't kidding you. Now, it's not so bad right now, because leaves are all in the trees, that's blocking out. There's 4 lights across the building, and one in the very northeast corner of the parking lot, not facing where the drive is, the parking lot, just facing out towards the field. So I looked at it. I said, you're the next businessman, I understand, your concerns, everything about security, and they got a lot of time. So, but why didn't you have to light up the whole entire school all the way across the road? I have pictures, I'll show you in a minute, of the reflection of the trees on my garage, lit up like a floodlight, you know, but it's, from that building to my garage is probably 150 feet off Michigan Road. That's behind my house.
Yes, it's fine.
And it reflects on there just like you would not believe. And so I went to him, I said, why can't you just throw them down? He said, I'll take it into consideration, don't put them in right away. And but why do they need to flood the whole entire field? Are they expecting, I mean, they didn't a lot. I mean, why? You think they'd fit them down on the road, goes around towards the east, around the east side of the building and the new addition they put on the existing building, that parking lot there, you think they'd want them down there. So, you know, it's be more beneficial instead of just, I don't know where I go. The reflection of that tree is up on Michigan Road. That's all the way back on my garage, 150 feet off the highway.
Wow. That's a,
Yeah,
that's a
and my,
big sense.
I mean, this is in the middle of the night, lit up that much. It's like almost like, well, not quite daylight, but like dusk, you know, not quite dark yet. Good Lord.
The garage is 150 feet off the road. The building is another few hundred feet the other direction.
More than a few hundred, probably. Altogether, you're probably looking at 500 feet to 600 feet. Of course, that's looking at it in the morning. Yeah, well, you can look at it, but you don't want to.
It's quite.
Yeah, and all they gotta do is tip them down. And there's a one that's out in the corner of the parking lot that's facing out towards the field, not even towards the driveway. So anyway, just.
Can you send-
I had 2 businesses in Argos.
Bob, can you send them pictures to Ray?
I'll get them.
Can you get them from,
How long ago did you talk to somebody there?
I've had 2 businesses in Argos, one in the southeast corner, one in the northwest corner. And I've had my share of complaints from the neighbors, you know, not lighting, but dust and noise control. And I always tried to work with them. I gotta get the job done, but I gotta have happy neighbors.
Bob, how long ago did you talk to them?
Along,
Yeah.
when they first lit up the last fall, I think it was, when they first finished the addition to the existing building, and they put all the new lighting.
So the addition to the first building is where the problem lies.
Yeah, well, it's on, not the addition,
yeah,
Yes.
that's
it's on, it's on the east side of the original building.
Gotcha.
Now, the new, building they put up on south of that, they got those lights pointed right down around the perimeter of the building, like they should be.
So there is,
And they don't bother you a bit. So, anyway, I wanna work with them if it's.
Guys, I did take a look at this, okay, excuse me. I was out the most of last week, but, I did have a chance to take a look at this. I know that there's a petition that was filed by several, landowners here in the town of Argos. I reviewed that. I also took a look at our zoning ordinance, and you can find like exterior lighting standards there. It's in Article 6, Chapter 50. um, like most zoning ordinances, and I also look at counties, it's rather vague in terms of like, there are some specific requirements, but it's vague in terms of like X amount of lumens based on 75 yards or anything like that. So there's no real measurable standard. But I think the thing to do here is basically to send a representative from the town, most likely Ray, but I would also think maybe one of the council members might be a good idea too. Schedule a meeting with Sequel and let them know that, hey, we've had this petition, we've had a gentleman come before the council and raise this issue, and see what can be done just by agreement and see if that provides any relief. I would also point out to the town that it's an opportunity for any citizen of the town to file your own public nuisance action in a court. If you're not satisfied with whatever may result of that, or if nothing results, it's always something that any private citizen can take up and say, I think we have a public nuisance here. This is offensive to the census. It's basically the standard. So that's always something that a private citizen can take up. I understand it's expensive, it's time consuming, and I think it's worth an effort, from the town just to have a meeting and say, hey, there's been some issues here. See where that leads, and then revisit the situation after Sequel's been notified of what's going on. So I really think that's a good place to leave this, is to basically have Ray, possibly a member of the council, to meet with Sequel, to schedule a time and sit down and discuss kind of what we've heard tonight. If there's photographs, great. And see what, if anything, can be done just on working with them, kind of a prospect.
Yeah, I agree with that, everyone. I think that we should start with a meeting like that with Ray, and whichever one of us could be available to go out there. But knowing the people of Sequel, we've all met with them and everything, and they've always been above the board as far as working with when there's something to do. And I just can't imagine if we can't collaborate something here to alleviate it. I admit they're bright, Bob. I would have the same concern. And by looking at the pictures and looking at the building, I can't see where there's not some kind of a compromise that can't be made here with realignment, or just turning the color down on them with a different bulb change or something. But I think that between the entities, hopefully we can get some relief without having to get too down the legal roads yet.
It's almost like a invasive privacy.
Yeah.
I mean, I never had to worry about covering myself up while I'm out.
So some of this until you get out at 10 o'clock at night, which a lot of us don't around here unless there's a power outage. I tell you, last night, he actually went down and looked, and he agreed. So he is going to reach out to Sequel. He is our Sequel contact. He will reach out and sit down with Rich and Denise and see if there's an option.
Who again?
Jamie. He's our Sequel contact. So we will have him reach out to them. We were waiting until their feedback and gave us his thoughts. So hopefully, and he said the same thing you did. Those are basically spotlights. We should be able to direct those where they need to go.
I don't understand.
They are pretty good working. Yeah, they're pretty good working with us, and I'm sure it's just around electric lights, putting them in.
Yeah, it could have been just an installation tech company instead of them themselves.
Jamie may be a great representative, actually, and that's fine.
And in Indiana, you should get there, you gotta wait till midnight.
Oh, sure. It'd just be helpful and more nice if they could get down and, go like daylight. If it comes fall, when you completely wait, I got to blow my mind.
I don't wanna see that.
I was thrown out.
Thanks, Bob. Thanks, Bob. Any other citizens' input? All right. Attorney report.
Actually, we need to have a public hearing here, folks. A little bit tardy, but we did advertise for a public hearing concerning the two ordinances coming up under the new business. They're basically modifications to the water and the sewer rates. The notice of the public hearing, we did have that published. It was published on July 17th, 2026, so it was timely published. And I think what you need to do is basically open the floor for the public hearing, entertain that, and then close.
I entertain a motion to open the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
The motion is second, open the public hearing. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Any public input?
I would just point out that, the rates are included in the ordinances that are, basically, they've been available for review, certainly been available for the council. This is kind of something we knew was coming down the road. It's expired.
I was gonna do this when we got to the ordinances, but all this is, this is our 5-year, basically our inflation increases. If you remember, we started passing those 5 years at a time. So the last one was done in, our last rate study. We went to what we call the user rate study, so we basically just continued the cost of living. Just to give you an idea, somebody that's a minimum, that pays our minimum, in 2026, they're paying $68.64 a month for water, sewer, and storm. In 2027, that would go up to $72.33, which is $3.69, $3.10. And that is actually a little higher than what the further ones down the road are, because in 2012, we passed the stormwater ordinance. In that ordinance, we had rate increases built in every, I think, 5 years that we never enacted. So our storm ordinance has been the same dollar amount since 2012. In this year one, we saw a $2 a month increase, and it minimizes after that, through that 5 year. So you'll see, just like in comparison, in year 2, that same minimum increase is only $2.74. Just to show we're not throwing out some humongous rates, this is basically just, the reason we do it this way, a lot of communities don't, or my opponent does, but in talking to a lot of communities, like, well, that's neat. We give raises every year, everything goes up, so all this does is just automatically builds it in, so that every year I'm not coming back to you saying, hey, we need to raise our rates. Every January 1st, these are all automatically going to affect through those 5 years. It is done automatically. Now, obviously, if there's some catastrophic problem that comes up, that doesn't mean that this will be the solve. And that's for any community. These rates aren't gonna, if you have something where you gotta stick $2 million into something, that doesn't mean we're gonna have another issue. This is just an inflation rate. Everybody is.
It's also stopped us from having major rate increases every 5 years. So instead of having.
Or longer, yes.
Yeah.
Because it's going to sound kind of stupid, but your rates can actually be too low. You get into some of these Oakland grants and that's the first thing to check to make sure you basically kept up on trying to be self-sustaining and move forward.
There was a neighboring community that had that problem, wasn't it?
Well, and you don't like a lot of
There's more
times,
than one.
and I'm not for call, but they just raise their rates. So I haven't had it for 30 years also. I mean, you start throwing a hit like that, people realize it. This, they really don't even see.
We're at the end of our current 5-year term. I mean, so it's,
26 is the last, so this is what you're 2030.
yeah, something
We've been doing it
had to be done.
for a while.
Right.
Close the public hearing. We have a motion to close the public hearing. Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a motion to second to close the public hearing. All those in favor? Excuse me, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Would entertain a motion to approve ordinance 2026-11 on the first reading.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve ordinance 2026-11 on the first reading. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Does everybody get the swear on too, Derek?
You can, I mean, they're, yeah, hand in hand.
We need a, obviously, a public hearing on that.
We just did.
Oh, that
That
included
was,
that
yeah,
as
it's
well.
comprehensive for both.
Entertain a motion to approve ordinance 2026-12 on the first reading.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve ordinance 2026-12 on the first reading. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, sir. Ma'am? Anything else from the attorney?
Oh, yeah.
No, brother.
You guys are welcome. You don't have to stick around. No, I'm going to prove a point that attorneys don't have to be long-winded.
Rodney, we're gonna need you to stick around.
These are short and simple, hopefully. Just to let you know, like, we do have some modifications coming to chapter 150 and 151 of the Code of Ordinances concerning, this is kind of the Ray's baby. This has been a fair amount of work, but like, I've got something back to him. I think he still needs to review it before we present it to the council. But again, I think I gave you a heads up in April that this was coming. My guess is you're going to see it at the next meeting to start to consider it. And there's a lot of information there to kind of digest. There's some changes. So again, it may be a workshop, but it's up to you guys. But just to let you know, that's really getting close. The council also had talked about basically an ordinance that would prohibit data centers, carbon sequestration, BESS, battery energy storage systems. I did have that drafted. I sent that to Lisa, and I think I sent that to Ray. I don't think that's in your packets tonight.
No, he told me, and that was the plan.
No. It's a proposal, but I wanted the council, given that the council's going to make the proposal to the plan commission. So we'll make sure that that's on your radar for the next meeting, okay? But yeah, we got that much.
Plan commission had already wanted.
They've been working on it for a long time. It's not all inclusive, but this ordinance is optional.
Yeah, the direction came from the council, okay? And so the council's gonna have, it's called a proposal. The proposal will go to the plan commission, then the plan commission has to deal with that. And they have to have their public hearing. Then it comes back to the council if you get a favorable recommendation or even a recommendation with modifications or a no recommendation, but it will get back to the council, but it does need to, well, I'm going to say again, it was the council that wanted to make this proposal, and that's what you're going to see. And again, that was ready this meeting, definitely going to have it to you next meeting, okay?
Okay. Yeah, I wanted to move as fast as possible.
It's kind of a done deal. Just, yeah, it didn't get to you guys. We already covered sequel, so that's all I have.
Motion to accept the attorney report?
Second.
We have a motion and a couple of seconds to approve the attorney report. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any other old business? Budget workshops. Yeah. Monday or Tuesday of next week. What's it?
Tuesday we have, Ray, don't we have a meeting Tuesday? Next week?
Yes. the planning commission has a meeting.
At 7.
All right.
There's 2 items to discuss on that.
Can you do Monday?
Is everybody available Monday? See you next guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
I can be available.
Possibly.
Rebuild this, what, the
For
second week?
consultants, no.
When it comes to the budget though, can we get the salary ordinance done before we pass the budget?
We can talk about it. No. Well, I mean, included in this. We should know, other than, I mean, Jamie's is the only one with the electric department.
So some of them are fixed for another year thing. Please have another year yet, Rod? No, I meant on the,
Yeah.
that extended one that we have is expired.
Yeah, so we don't have to commit.
All right, so Monday,
Monday, what time you guys, what's your,
6:30? 6:30. I can make 6 work, but it's not.
6
let's do 6.
Yeah.
Monday at 6.
We may not leave Tuesday, you know. So,
Hopefully we won't.
We want to do.
mean, I can set it up so that, you know, 6:30, but I think it'll be out and
Are we, the only one I saw in there, unless I missed it, is his so far, right?
then,
They're
Oh, no,
all.
I meant, are they all completed?
yeah,
Well, that's all.
everything that is in there should be completed.
It's in the manila.
Well, not the flyer, but we don't
No,
need to approve the flyer, so everything except for fire and line. I mean, you can use line, but you said you're not completed it?
On that first
Got ours. I know, that's what I'm saying.
Pretty thin.
Well, and I can get you guys a salary ordinance, obviously.
I'm gonna have to go.
It's not my-
I think since we're setting the salaries in our budgets, I guess we might as well just include it in our salary ordinance. The other thing is, we may have, for some unforeseen reason, or something happens that would get approved, the budget would get approved down the state.
I don't see, is utilities part of MVH somehow?
We don't, but
Oh, okay.
we only let.
And I've gotta go. Something came up.
Doing all right?
Yeah, it's just something came up.
Oh, I don't know.
If you need something, let us know.
I mean, that's one like that.
Oops, sorry.
Stays.
And I would like to see, proposals for salaries from the department head before we would discuss some of that stuff.
Ron needs to
You
be in
guys?
there, and that's what he takes.
I've got approval.
Oh, I mean, Rodney has his built into his budget.
I understand that. I would like to see their justification for the rating on that stuff.
And I've got all types of.
I think that's an important part of the department head's job is to relay that stuff to us, how they feel about their employees.
Because I think the only ones that you're setting for pay on that
Please.
is police and, MVH. The rest of them you can set in another time. Or you can do the salary ordinance. Those are the only tax-based employees.
Well, if we're gonna, you wanna do the whole salary
I
thing.
like to.
So if we're gonna do the whole salary thing like we normally do in December,
I will
November,
send you the correct.
then I would like to see the proposals for all the employees that they wanna have raised.
To me, it makes sense to do the salary ordinance before we do the budget.
You know, yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem with that, Bob. I just,
Well, you'd want to do your salary ordinance after your budget, so you know what's good.
you wanna budget enough you wanna budget money for salaries, but then you gotta make your salaries fit your budget. So that's where Ed's going with that, and I agree.
And as far as the scheduling goes, I'll leave that up to the clerk. She can schedule that for you, keep up where you work out, once yourself, your belts.
But I just think that we need to see the full picture of salaries.
So I'll advertise it for Monday and Tuesday at 6, and if, you know, if it goes into, you
It's
know,
out on Monday, and it's
well. let's take it
Grumpy old man, isn't he?
No, I'm gonna agree with him.
Yeah, come on. I agree.
What's the big
all right, so we
All
have
right, Monday at 6.
Monday at 6. Okay.
Something came up, he said,
Department head reports. Yeah, like that. The 17 charger, we already
do that. But not for the entire process. And then we've done it for the account. It's ready to go.
And you have any other vehicles to throw in while we're doing it?
Okay, I know, you can get fairly short for a couple of weeks.
It's just an advertised bids. I mean, it's a pretty simple process. I mean, yeah, we've done plenty of trucks and whatever's.
Do those bids are really used a lot for-
Nope, they're submitted, they're coming here, we give them a deadline, we say we're gonna open them on such a date and give adequate time to let people know that it's out there.
Right to refuse.
It's pretty, I'll be honest, kind of a form that got going here for the multiple.
There's an old white junky van out in the parking lot. Is that the town's that they're gonna sell?
That one's not rusted, the old one is.
Oh, that's,
Registration on?
Yeah, that way it's good.
An update on our vehicle, I thought our vehicle was not ready for
jeez.
because they weren't ready for it. We got that.
Oh,
I was
yeah.
supposed to give them a couple of months notice when it was gonna be coming, and then all of a sudden, we found one in, like, the next day. I'm telling you. Yeah, I got one, so really tight first with us. So we should have that, back. Probably next month. And then, 23 Charger, I'll get on our authority on the transmission. And not only will have a new motor, we'll have a new transmission basket. Every time that we have that back, it's about 10 days to get it, so that's good. Good news is we'll have that same drivetrain warranty, 2,000 miles, 5 years of transmission. And part of those replacement components, obviously, get down in some little things that, warranties on all the vehicles again, get it back.
That's the way I got the price of that.
One other thing, and I know I texted council about this, so we're going to 25, the town placed me on salary versus hourly. Also, the fact that I did have to come to a shift overtime, work with 4 officers. Pretty much did it 25, even though we had a guy in the academy, and we actually kept a guy around, we had 5 guys in the year, 25. We were putting Devin in and move on as needed. But for this year, we're pretty much, I mean, obviously, last week, I was 4 now. I don't see the good side right now. I think we can stay with that. Exactly the plan that we decided on. But for whatever reason, it didn't end up in Lisa's salary ordinance. We could see overtime, people coming in with the shift, and she was looking for clarification on that.
Then not to catch you up, but was there a discussion, I mean, unless I'm reading this, about when we raised Jamie and him, that we gave them that raise not, so they took them out of the overtime?
I think there was some discussion on it, but I also don't want him coming in and working, a bunch of 12-hour shifts if everyone else is exhausted out, not getting paid for it. Like they make less than some of his officers.
So the issue you come up with, so like, for prior, when I was getting overtime, if you just did me staying over, or coming to meetings, just working here and there, it was like, I think it's even $2,000. So the town had to do was put me on salary, and if they're paying me that, what I was making, do all that stuff, training, all that stuff, still comes. You just said, okay, you're not gonna keep any of that stuff in, we're gonna bump you up to 3,000. And my argument on that was that if I have to come in and work shifts, the first thing is that, so we're gonna be short-handed. When we had 5 guys, it was easy. Take that 5th guy, you can rotate, and it's rotating wherever you need him, get 20-day work cycle, plugging in. Now, with 4 guys in the hospital, that's why it was decided at the time that if I did have to come in and work shifts on my days off, that I would get overtime for that. Nothing else, everything else.
wasn't there some talk back then about the, one of my concerns I remember was, do we have enough reserve and part-time officers so you wouldn't have to come in and work those shifts?
And so
I would like to see that we're utilizing those resources before we're having you come in and work more.
Yeah, so for me, so in 2025, I worked 0 overtime. Even though we were short-handed at the end of the year, we kind of were, we did have 5 at the end of the year for about 3 months. I managed to have no overtime, and that is still my point. I don't want to come in and work. But for Brad, so getting a day shift covered in the local week, that's for Brad. And also sometimes we just pray. He wants something like that, and have it on trading, that way it's all evens out right. But in other cases where you want to take Saturday and Sunday off, and you can't get them covered, if he's asking you to work. So I'm not gonna give up my weekend to come here and work shifts, at a $2,000 bump. It just doesn't work out. I would have never agreed to that.
Yep, but we need to do that. And when there was nobody else available, but we will.
And obviously, if there's part-time, always throw part-time, because that's the cheapest. I mean, if you get part-time to cover, that's my preference. Then if you can't, then it's full-time, whether,
And this month in particular was a very rare one because I think Brad worked, what, a couple days the whole month?
well, it's a little bit of a crazy month because we have guys working the fairgrounds, special detail, we have guys working highway special detail, and working other agencies. Now, obviously, they know that the priority is us, right? And they're allowed to work those things as long as they're interfere with covering shifts. And we try to get our vacation put out there early enough to allow us to move people around if need be. Like I said, full year of 2025, I worked 0 overtime. This year I just worked 12 hours. So I'm very good about not covering those shifts, not having to cover those shifts, because we do have 7 for 2 part-timers. But obviously they can't always cover a 12-hour shift.
I just would hate to see us get into a situation where, and I'm gonna throw this out there because I think it needs to be thrown out there, not saying that you would do this, but, I would hate to see us get in a situation where you're not calling in your part-time reserves because you want extra money, per se. You know where I'm going, I was thinking it needed to be said.
Just let the record speak for itself. We went all through last year, I worked 0.
Yeah.
That's my goal. I don't want to come in and work extra.
I just think it needed to be said.
I'm too old to want to come in and work extra.
He's headed for retirement.
It's a lie.
But in rare cases, I have to.
So when we did that, I don't remember what, the reason we looked at that, if you remember, and I understand why you're administrative, people are salaried. But like in his situation, sitting here thinking about this, you use flex less. Okay, so Rod works a shift today, gonna take another shift about 12 hours, we're gonna pay Brad overtime to come in and work it, well, we might as well just pay Rod the overtime to work it. because
Yeah.
I don't have a
I
luxury.
mean, I understand, it's not like, he can't just go home 4
Or
hours
you
early.
use one of your part-timers to work in.
And I think he
If you
does
could
pretty
get
good
him
trying to get, like he said, he's gonna work 12 hours. I mean, you can tell Jamie, you know what, you were here 5 hours last night, just go home 5 hours early. I get that, Rod doesn't have that luxury.
I think that that's something we can iron out to some kind of a hard standard during our talks, during budget talk maybe. Give everybody a chance to think about this a little bit. I see both sides of the coin. I probably was looking at it deeper than I need to, but
I know we talked about it.
yeah, we did.
I'm not opposed to it. Like I said, if he has to start coming in and working shifts, he's gonna quickly make less than his officers per hour.
Or if he doesn't.
If you want to move, if you want to take 1,000 off going into next year, put you back on hourly.
What were you saying, Eric? And I get it. We've got a lot of part-timers, but there's times where none are available or none want to work a Saturday in July or.
I mean, it's that is the biggest issue with going before the town takes a lot of money by doing that. The payoff is part of the schedule, but those guys all cover the holidays, cover the family. They've noticed, you have good guys. Who I had before, I was just throwing it out
You're
there.
such a giver.
Yeah, no, I didn't have a choice. I'm not gonna be that guy. That's the way it is.
I think,
I think it's something we can discuss.
So I've already worked overtime, already in my paycheck relation. Just pay.
So
I
I
don't want to
was,
address that.
I was told that it was a done deal,
But-
that you guys had discussed it by email, and that,
So Randy, earlier than Bob, pretty much remember exactly what. I mean legally, I don't know it to be a done deal unless it's in the salary.
I understand that,
I'm not opposed to it. I think we're gonna make a bigger deal out of what'll end up being a couple grand on the very high end, and I think that's a good way to kill morale. And we're talking like, we're 7 months into the year, he's worked one shift.
And I'm like,
Out of the last 19 months, he's worked one 12-hour shift.
I thought we had agreed upon it. As
why
long
would
as he
we
went,
did? We asked, I would.
Yeah.
Well, but I do recall there was discussion, but that was if we were down in office.
We are. Permanent.
What, no, we're not, because we're budgeted for 4. We're not down in office.
Yeah, that's exactly. We're going into 25, that was exactly the point. You're gonna be down and off permanently. And why would you okay down and off from 24? It's okay then.
What I'm saying is if we
Permanently
went
going
from
down
4
and
to
off.
3, we would be down in office. That was the discussion.
I think we're worried about pennies when all it's gonna do is make people mad.
And I'm not gonna be mad about it, but if going forward, if we look back on hourly and paying out salary, you can take the 3,000 back, it will all pan out regardless. So, if that's what you want to do, that's perfectly fine.
Then you'd be losing money because you work one shift.
Well, I'm gonna overnight for everything.
I mean, I still think you have to discuss, you're gonna put it in the new salary ordinance or change the current one regardless.
maybe we can discuss.
maybe we can discuss it outside of here.
What do you want to do about the front payroll?
We'll have to decide something if it goes retroactive, or I'll be retroactive. Anything else?
Go back to selling this car. If you guys want to do that, how about a voice vote and then have Rodney give me your make, model, VIN so I can put together a notice we can publish.
Make a motion to have Rodney get with Derek on preparation of a sealed bid to the 2017 Dodge Charger.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to advertise the 2017 Charger for school board. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Utilities.
Get that sent in for a very little bit of detail landscape. Got a call for good real. Met with, Altec, I was looking for a Navy day and down there. That price we well. Got everything going, I haven't heard back from Shannon yet. He said that when he ran up with the storm, water, and he's trying to do the sewer salvage now. So we met with Adam on the other day, we're getting out there and see what we got to apply for.
Any update on your training with your new guys as far as electric, how's that going?
Electric, that's what we do. Yeah, but I mean,
as far as internally, it's going good. Yeah.
Had one last night. I would like to discuss that sometime about smoking.
You have any questions for me? Anything else? Development.
Before we do, I don't, you said you did something that, outdoor event. In the state, it basically was a CYA for them, just kind of one of those. We're still gonna work with you, but we weren't happy with what you did. Not very too worried about it, but we are still doing the engineering stuff. We were saying, we're still about 828, right? Letting for the no.
Letting, bid letting.
For the,
Oh, yeah.
for late 27, sorry. So late 27, we still are going to do the bid process. So construction is still supposed to be that 28. So I know there was talk of getting pushed back, and still it's not.
I just hope they hold their word, they cancel a lot of projects.
I don't know, I talked to them the other day, I think it could be as early as next summer for the start line, we might some numbers, we might know we may have infrastructure, so we're working on our uses right now, trying to figure everything out, so that we can get them that way.
That was also, it's not like their standard project changes.
How's the process on, and I know this is kind of hand in hand with Jamie, the process for the updates along Michigan Street before paving and restructuring the Michigan Street? Has that planning stuff gotten done? Is it moving forward?
Okay.
Yeah, two towns there.
That would be 30, was it 31?
Yeah, 131, that'll start after that, so they put that, they were telling me it was gonna happen before and after that, so that's.
I don't know if that street would last without some improvements until then.
Especially if it becomes a deep.
Especially on that north end. That street's getting pretty bad. Another one I want to bring to both of your attention is, and we have talked about this before, and I'm almost getting tired of talking about it, but something has to be done with the railroad crossing on State Road 10. That thing is
I made contact with
ridiculous.
Patriot Rail, they're working on it.
I mean,
And I reached out with you,
I got their contact from, oh, I can't remember which city councilman it is in Plymouth, but it's the one who got them to take action on Lake Avenue.
something needs to be done.
So they are,
It's been way overdue.
I need to touch base with them. It's probably been a month or better, but they were very receptive and wanting to be a good community partner. And
I go across it every morning and about shakes my teeth out.
I discussed
No,
with
over here.
This one.
Oh, yeah, State Road 10.
and I discussed with them while they were at it, the South Street, the 15th Road, and the other subsequent town crossings. I said, 10's the worst. I said, there's a couple in town that are getting there, but most of the ones in town are halfway decent.
Yeah, they fixed 10.
Well, while they're working on it, while they're looking at the whole track.
Plum Street's not bad, neither is, the other one. Which street is that? No, south of Plum, Fremont Street's not terrible.
But they did
I'm not sure about Marshall Street.
Marshall's, it's okay.
Anything further from Mark? Entertained a motion to set for department head reports.
Second.
Motion is second for second department head reports. Any further discussion?
What about Ray?
Oh, I forgot. I checked in law. That's right. I figured after the hour and a half of swimming this morning, there's no reason to have it.
I'll hand over the football to Jamie on
The reason I said we should go to policy letters to include is creating an office manual. I really would be looking myself out of the job and making a manual for the office. So, some people pick up there. And apologize, I have to say right now, eventually you can use as well. That I should be doing. That manual is part of that. But let's be policy, I'd like to know, stuff.
Derek had a chance to look, I've got two of them here.
Derek has had a chance to look at these, and I'll be honest with you, it's really nothing more than you expected Ray to do to begin with. It certainly doesn't expand on his authority, and it really just kind of spells stuff out. I think it's all a given. A lot of words, but that's kind of what town wanted Ray to do. So we don't. You can have a manual, that's all fine, but yeah, just there's a lot here. But when you really read it, it's like, do what God Ray to do.
My question to you, Derek, would be, and it's really my only question, is on the one with the property changes and stuff.
Well, which one?
Um,
We got three of them. There's a voluntary compliance policy, the motion adopting the administrative enforcement policy, and the approval authority for routine property line adjustment.
That's the one.
Okay, what about it?
My question there is there anything in there that could get us entangled within property disputes between landowners or businesses or?
No, it never requires the town to step into this. In fact, I've had a little discussion, I think primarily with a county person, about an issue that's, I can't tell you the names of the streets, but like there are certain things the town just don't always has to get involved with, i.e. sequel. And I'm going to keep reminding town and everybody else of that fact. If there's plats that have been put forward in 18 whatever, they may not line up with a current survey. That's really not the town's issue. And the town may just bow out of that because it's really not a town problem. But this doesn't change any law, it doesn't change any ordinance, it doesn't change any statute. It doesn't give him more authority to do anything with property lines. It's really just saying kind of one of the things he can look at and investigate. So
Very good, thank you. I'll make a motion to approve the three policy changes that Ray has requested.
Second that.
I have a motion and a second to approve the policy changes proposed by Ray. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Anything else? Now I'll entertain a motion to accept department head reports.
Second.
Motion is second to approve certain department head reports. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Motion adjourned.
Oh, no, we have claims.
Ah,
The only thing I will say is on the claim sheet that we have here, it's dated 9/9/25. So it says 9/9/25 to 9/22/25.
Well, on the top of it, it says 9/24/25.
This is, yeah.
Yeah, and then underneath where it says claims through 9/9/25 to 9/22/25.
No, I'm talking about the approval sheet.
The approval sheet, yeah.
You don't have this approval sheet, it's on this screen right
I
No.
can't see it,
I do not.
here.
but no. It says September of last year.
This should be in your packet, because that's where I got it.
No, ma'am.
it does say 9/9, yeah, it does.
It's a whole different amount. It's $193,000 document.
Yeah.
That's what I'm-
Somehow you gave us the wrong one.
It's in your packet, because that's where I just pulled it from.
That's where I just pulled mine up.
Anyway, all right, well, the claims are from 6/23 of 26, 7/27 of 26, and they total $1,027,204.78.
We'll entertain a motion to approve the claims from 6/23 of 26 to 7/27 of 26, the amount of $1,027,204.78.
So moved.
Second, third, fourth.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
For the record, Lisa, it was in the packet, it was clear at the bottom, you had to expand to add more.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, we need to take some of the old stuff out of our
Yeah.
things here. Once I expanded that, then it was at the bottom, and that old one was at the top. It should have been
I'm like,
deleted.
It has to be there, 'cause then- yes, I apologize. I'll start deleting some of the old packets out.
Motion to adjourn.
We have a motion to adjourn in a second. Any further discussion, hearing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?